Hi, I'm Chris Ermides. This is their second generation 18 gauge cordless brad nailer. Now, full disclosure before we get started, Milwaukee did send me this nailer with the understanding that I could test it out and speak freely about it and give my unbiased opinion. So that's what you're gonna get here. Before we get into the specifics about this nailer, let's talk about the difference between cordless nailers and pneumatic nailers. Obviously, air compressor, hose, pneumatic nailer, you're tethered. And while that can be somewhat of a nuisance if you're using a nail gun all day, every day as a finish carpenter, the weight difference is a clear advantage in this setup. So let's break down the features. First off, obviously, cordless. Takes a single battery. This right here is a 2 amp hour battery. If you have other batteries you can use your 5 amp hour, you can use a 9 amp hour, whatever you have. Obviously it's going to affect the weight, but it comes kitted with the 2 amp hour and the runtime on it is quite good. I've never outrun a battery while the other one was charging. This gun drives nails from a spring mechanism comprised of an inner and outer cylinder that's separated by nitrogen gas. Pressure within the inner cylinder is used to drive the striker and piston. Now, I'm simplifying this because it's tough to describe without seeing the inner components, but in the end, what's useful to know is that there are wear parts similar to a pneumatic nailer that can be replaced after excessive use, and that's a good thing. The other thing that it has is obviously an on-off switch, and it has a sequential mode and a bump fire mode. Now, both of those modes function really well, and the bump fire mode is quite impressive for a cordless nailer like this. It can keep up with a pneumatic, but if you're doing trim work, you're not usually, unless you're putting baseboard up or something, you're not really typically flying really fast. So the bump fire mode is not something that makes a huge difference, in my opinion, when you're buying a nailer of this gauge. It has a work light right here, which is really nice if you're working in a closet or cabinet or a space where the light's not great around you. The depth adjustment for the nails is easily accessible and easy to turn, and it's also easy to see where you are in relation to the maxed out one way or the other. It comes with 3 tips that are housed right on the gun. It shoots 5/8 up to 2 1/8 inch long brads, and belt hook that you can mount on either side of the gun. The grip is good, it's well balanced. It's not something you want to use overhead for long periods of time, but definitely when doing baseboard, or most likely when you're doing trim, like running casing, making that connection to the door jamb or to the window jamb. This is obviously 18 gauge is something you're going to use most often for that, and also for cabinetry and any other kind of woodworking projects. 18 gauge brads are a great option and probably the most used nailer for finish carpenters. If you're a finish carpenter who does a fair amount of punch list work, or you're a remodeling contractor, or you work on your house a fair amount and you also do a fair amount of woodworking, then having a cordless nailer is a great way to go. Let's take a look at the weight difference between the Bostitch pneumatic nailer and the Milwaukee cordless. I mean, it's obvious the cordless is going to be heavier, but let's just see what the numbers are. With the battery, the cordless Milwaukee is 6 pounds, 6.5 ounces. And the Bostitch, 3 pounds, 1 ounce. So twice as heavy. It's a clear advantage of the Bostitch pneumatic. It doesn't mean you should discount this nailer or any other cordless nailers. All cordless nailers, regardless of the brand, are going to be heavier than their pneumatic counterparts. It's just a function of the convenience. There's a lot more going on in this tool than there is in this one. You've got the battery, you've got the motor, you've got the drive piston, you've got all of that housed within a cylinder here that's pressurized. So you get a cordless nailer like this for the convenience, and you do pay for that convenience. For example, this nailer as a kit with a battery and a charger is going to cost you $400, right? Significant investment. If you are already on the Milwaukee battery platform, then you can buy this tool only for $280. This boss stitch nailer, on the other hand, which I've had for a very long time, is $100. So if you already have a hose and a compressor that works for you, and you don't want to spend the extra money for the cordless convenience, then stick with what you have. But if you are in the market for a cordless 18 gauge brad nailer, I highly recommend this one. There's one flaw that I don't like, and that's the battery connection. As you can see, the battery sits in here and it's very loose. It hasn't malfunctioned on me at all yet. I haven't had issues with it not working because the contacts weren't engaged, but I do feel like over time that might become an issue. I have some other batteries here and they do the same thing, so it's not a matter of the battery. As an aside, if you aren't in the market for a cordless brad nailer, but you are in the market for a pneumatic brad nailer, then you can't go wrong for $100 with this boss stitch. So, all in all, I do recommend this nailer. Definitely a win for Milwaukee. Thanks a lot for watching, you guys. Until next time, I'm Chris Ermides with This Old House.
Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button to make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.